What's going on, everybody? It's Mark back here with some more Draft League content, and this time we are in Week 6 of the ICBA, and we're taking on Johnny GB, coach of the Oregon Duckletts. And Johnny is having a decent season. He's 2-3 right now, I believe, so he's still in the race. He is in our conference, however not in our division, so this isn't a must-win, but it's more of a want-to-win kind of game. And so the 6 he brought were Jolteon, Spiritomb, Kecleon, Mega Gyarados, Primarina, and Aerodactyl, and what you don't see is Garchomp, Jirachi. What else did he have? I was really surprised not to see Garchomp and Jirachi first and foremost. He also had stuff like the Serena, which we traded to him, and some other groovy stuff. Basically, I was really happy not to see Jirachi, Chomp, and Serena. I was pretty confident that I'd see most of those things, but looking at my team and how it stacked up, I knew a few things were coming. I was pretty confident Gyarados was coming since it's very good against my team once Chestnut goes down or if I didn't bring it. Aerodactyl and Primarina are very hard for me to switch into. Aerodactyl for me, I don't have an Aerodactyl switch in really. Spiritomb was I knew Spiritomb was coming because if he doesn't bring it, then he would just get 6-0'd by Curslax because he doesn't have a good fighting type on his team, or any, I believe. So yeah, Curslax would just totally 6-0. I didn't really expect to see the Kecleon. Jolteon was iffy for me. It makes sense that he'd bring it because it outspeeds everything on my team aside from Deoxys, and if he, like, my ground type is Golurk, which can just get bought by Shadow Ball and HP Ice. So Volt Switch is pretty free against my team, and also it's a very good Manaphy check, since his team is pretty weak to Manaphy. So let's go over the 6 that I brought. First and foremost, we have a Focus Sash lead Scolipede with its Adamant max attack with like a bunch of speed to outrun some stuff, and then HP. I forget what most of my investments do at this point since I built this team a while back. But I'm running Mega Horn, EQ, and Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is a nice little tech to potentially grab an Oko on Aerodactyl. It's a low chance, but the idea of just getting 90% off or so on the Aerodactyl is very nice because my team is super weak to Aero, and if I can get rid of it or really weaken it, then that would be very beneficial for my team. And Scolipede, its main job is to get up T-Spikes because he doesn't have a grounded poison type, and his team is so weak to just being poisoned. I love the idea of T-Spikes against his team, so I wanted to build around kind of using that residual from the T-Spikes. I don't have a good special ghost that could spam Hex, but I brought some other nifty ideas. Then we've got a bulky Tailglow Manaphy with Dazzling Gleam and Scald, and then a cool little nifty thing that I don't get to show off in this game. But essentially, Scald, Dazzling Gleam does pretty good work against his team. Obviously, I don't hit the Primarina for super effective damage, but I should be able to 2-hit KO it with a +3 Gleam. I can take any hit, and ideally, once his team is weakened, then I can just go in with Manaphy, set up the Glow, and kind of just win the game. Roadblocks to that would be like a Z-move Arrow coming in and doing a ton of damage to me. Obviously, Jolteon, since it is an electric type and it spooks me, and a healthy Primarina can check me pretty well. But Fat Manaphy is really nice. It's a pseudo-checked Arrow since I take any one hit. Albeit if he's a Z-move, not very well, but I do take it, and then I can do a lot of damage or just knock him out with Scald, which is good. And like I said, late game, Tailglow just kind of wins. So next we do have a Curse Snorlax, and I'm rocking Curse with Return, and then EQ and Rest. So I couldn't run full-on Crowlax because I've had this thing with my throat where there's stuff that keeps going in it. It's not cum, by the way, but mucus, yeah. We have a Curslax. I couldn't bring the full-on mono normal set because I knew Spiritomb was coming, and I did bring some of my prep. I did make my prep specifically so that I could deal better with Spiritomb because I did see that it could be a problem. Hence why I brought Dazzling Gleam over Manaphy instead of like Energy Ball, which would have been a little better to hit the Primarina, and it would still hit the Gyarados really hard, or it would have hit it harder, but it didn't really matter for that. But yeah, I'm running a set that should be able to 1v1 pretty much everything on his team still. I'm running a very specially defensive Snorlax, and what this allows me to do is I can take 2 Specs hits from Primarina pretty comfortably, which is pretty impressive since Primarina is really strong and typically does not have any switch-ins on like anyone's team unless you have a fat normal type, essentially. So Snorlax is very good. I decided to go with Earthquake as my way to hit Spiritomb because obviously I can't hit it super effectively since Snorlax doesn't learn Player Rough, which it totally should. But Curse is very, very good against this team since if he's just like a defensive Spiritomb set with like Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split and stuff, then I just beat it 1v1. I just Curse up, then I rest, burn my 2 turns of rest, and then start spamming EQ against it and that sort of thing. So I did like that idea. And Curse Lax just does bring a lot of my team together. It checks pretty much all of his special attackers, which is very convenient. And it allowed me to take on stuff like Jirachi and Garchomp pretty well as Serena potentially. Though he could just spam Trop Kick and continuously get attack drops on me and that sort of thing, but it's whatever. So next, my team's looking pretty weak to stuff like mainly Gyarados, and electric spam as a whole is still annoying, so I decided to bring Chestnut. Chestnut is a pretty good counter to Mega Gyarados since its dual stab is resisted and Ice Fang really doesn't do very much, and if he's bounced then I can go hard in my Zapdos and it doesn't care. So my Chestnut set, I've got Leech Seed, Spikes, Drain Punch, and Synthesis. I can't really hit the Spiritomb at all aside from Leech Seed, but the main thing about Chestnut is annoying his team. So we've got the Toxic Spikes, and then we have Spikes. His team is very grounded. Once Gyarados evolves, the only thing that doesn't take Spikes damage is Arrow, and his team really doesn't have that much recovery aside from Wish, Jolteon, Pain Split, Spiritomb, Recover, Kecleon, and Roost Arrow. Like, nothing has that reliable of recovery aside from Kecleon and Arrow, which both probably want to have moves, though they could be recovery 3 attacks or whatever. But the Spikes are very good, and since he didn't bring Serena, Leech Seed is free against his team, and Leech Seed plus poison damage really, really chips down his team so that I can just kind of win. Because I don't have a dedicated win condition in this that like outspeeds his team and sweeps, but I do have the ability to just chip away at his team and outlast him since my team is very bulky. Yeah, so Knot's very good for that, and getting up Spikes, getting up Leech Seeds are just very, very helpful against his team. And next we've got a Zapdos. Now this is a pretty cool set. I'm running a bulky Agility Zapdos with Roost, Agility, HP Ice, and Thunderbolt. Now, having a Heat Wave was something I did want to hit the Serena and the Jirachi harder, but I figured T-Bolt, HP Ice would be good enough to hit them. And I really wanted to be able to have Roost and Agility on this set. So Agility late, once I weaken things like the Spiritomb, the Kecleon, and the Jolteon, then I can just Agility up and kind of win, since his team is pretty weak to Electric. Especially since he didn't bring some of his bulkier, more annoying things that would have been able to deal with that better. So, yeah, my Zapdos set's very nice. It's another Gyarados check. It's a good Primarina check. It can take a hit from the Jolteon, and if I have an Agility up, I can just kind of stall it out and make it die to Poison, since unless he's bringing Defog Arrow, which I don't expect him to, then T-Spikes will be up turn 1, and they will be up to stay. So Zapdos is a pretty cool win condition, as well as a defensive pivot against his team. And lastly, we have another pretty interesting set, which is a Fake Out Alolan Persian. So the whole set is lefties with Fake Out, Foul Play, Taunt, and Parting Shot. Now the allure to this set is because his entire team can get poisoned. The idea of bringing in Persian, taking a hit with the Fur Coat, taking less damage from Fur Coat or whatever, or just coming in and making something take poison damage, and then going for the Fake Out and getting another 12% off with the poison and a few more percent with the Fake Out damage that Persian's really weak, while also giving myself leftovers recovery and then being able to taunt or Parting Shot or Foul Play out. Those all sounded like a really good way to just kind of annoy his team and whittle him down so that I could win, essentially, because I don't have the speed boosting, really fast sweeper. So the whole idea of this team is just whittle, since he doesn't have recovery, so I can just chip away at him and break him with my setup and just kind of go from there. So Persian's a really nice support mon. Obviously, Gyarados does a lot of damage to it since it ignores Fur Coat, but I still take a hit. I take a hit from the Aerodactyl decently, and I can foul play it. Obviously, Primarina is very scary against it, but I take on Kecleon decently, unless he goes for the Drain Punch, and with Taunt, I can shut down the Spiritomb from doing anything, which is very, very good. So that's the intro, and let's just get into it. So I was 100% from the very beginning of my building process. Was leading off with Scolipede once I decided to make it Sashed. I deviled with like Life Orb, Toxic Spikes, but I just wanted to guarantee the T-Spikes get up, and Scolipede could come back in later as an offensive threat potentially. I wouldn't want it taking Orb damage because this team is pretty weak to Scolipede. Anyways, he's going to lead off with Jolteon as he's going to go for the Volt Switch, and he shows he has Specs, which is good to know for me so that I can deal with it accordingly. And he's going to drop right into Aerodactyl, and now this is Christmas for me because I get to see what kind of set he is. Because we're going to be able to get the T-Spikes up, and unless he is Scarfed Arrow, in which case I can deal with very easily, I'm going to be able to get a big chunk off with Aqua Tail. So I'm going to go right for it. I do have a slight chance to kill it, and I do get the roll in my favor. It was a pretty low chance to be able to knock it out, I think 30% or so, but we get it, which is cool. So Scolipede coming in big, getting a kill turn 2. And now he's going to go out into the Spiritomb. Now I don't want to get Sucker Punched or anything like that. And I do have decent checks to this thing, and decent ways to deal with it. And it really depends on what kind of set he is. So I'm going to go hard into my Chestnut right here. No, I'm going to go into my Persian, because this thing should not be able to do anything to Persian. And he does reveal that he is Calm Mind. Now, Calm Mind's scary. However, I don't know what his full set is going to be. It could be Calm Mind, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisps. It could be full-on Rest Talk. I know he cannot be Shadow Ball. He cannot be Mono Shadow Ball because I have 2 Mons immune to that. So it's possible he could be Mono Dark Pulse, in which case he can't really hit Chestnut too hard. So I'm going to go for the Taunt, and he does go for the Dark Pulse here. So we know he's got Calm Mind and Dark Pulse. However, I'm not exactly sure what the rest of his set is. Since he didn't go for the Willow right there, it's possible he didn't have it unless he was just predicting me to Taunt. But taunting is good because it's preventing him from being able to go for any of his support or status moves, and most importantly, preventing him from Calm Minding. And from the damage, it looks like he has no investment. So I'm going to go ahead and Parting Shot right here and get on out of there. And I'm going to go hard into my Manaphy because I can threaten this thing out right away. So we're going to go into it. And what I'm going to do is just show off the Tail Glow right away. So he's going to Dark Pulse here. That doesn't do very much. And what I can do is go for the Tail Glow. What I probably should have done is just went right for a Scald or a Dazzling Gleam. However, if he did decide that like Gyarados was his switch in or something like that, I'd like to just be able to hit it up. He's going to go in the Jolteon, so getting a Scald off on this thing would have been nice to further the chip I'm getting. But I am going to go for the Tail Glow, and I'm not Wakan Berry, so I'm going to be forced to switch out here because I really don't want to lose my Manaphy. Now, I figured he probably is just going to click T-Bolt here because if I'm super fat, I could just live it and then kill him if he went for the Thunderbolt. So I'm going to go hard into my Snorlax because I'm very specially defensive, and this Specs Thunderbolt is just going to bounce off of me. That does absolutely nothing, and I'm going to be able to get some Lefty's recovery, and it's highly unlikely that he's just going to stay in, and it's highly unlikely that he's going to click Volt Switch right here, so I could just stay in and fire if he can get more Lefties. However, I know the Spiritomb's coming in, so I can make a switch to better deal with that, and what I'm going to decide to do is pull the switch into my Chestnut, because what Chestnut's going to do is I can get the Leech Seed off on him, and if he is not a Rest variant, Leech plus Poison on this thing is going to be doing enough chip to the point where I'm not afraid of Calm Mind the Spiritomb at all. And just getting Leech Seed off and then being able to set up some spikes sounded very enticing against him. Now having Taunt not could have been very nice, as I go for the Leech Seed and I'm going to miss, which is very annoying, and he's going to be able to Calm Mind up. So that is annoying. However, his only move to hit me with is going to be Dark Pulse, which I can take since I'm a Chestnut, which is I don't have any Spadef investment, but it's still bulky and I resist the hit, and I can like synthesis it off and get leftovers, Leech Seed, that sort of deal. But I'm going to go for the Leech Seed again right here, and I miss again, which is unfortunate because what I wanted to do was go for the Leech Seed and then click get a Spike Up, because once I got a Spike Up, then his team is taking an incredible amount of chip damage, and forcing switches with my Mons is going to be even more effective for breaking him. So I missed 2, which is very annoying, and I still want to get the Leech Seed off because I just kind of got to. So we're going to Leech Seed here, and that's going to be really good because he's going to be taking Poison and Leech Seed, and then he reveals Rest. So now I know what his set is. It's going to be Rest Talk with Mono Dark Pulse, which is fine with me because, or he could just be straight up Rest with, as his way of healing without Sleep Talk, but I'd kind of doubt that. So what I'm going to do here is go hard into Persian so I can taunt it, and then I can Parting Shot against it. And with Leech Seed and Leftovers, I can take these Dark Pulses and have get a decent amount of health back, as he doesn't go for the Sleep Talk right here. So that led me to believe that he didn't have it, which was kind of a mistake. I should have just gone for the taunt right here, but what I'm going to opt to do is go for Foul Play to get some chip damage against him. As you can see, Leftovers plus Leech Seed, it puts me almost back at full health because I'm not running max HP on my Persian, so it's getting me more health. So I'm going to fire off the Foul Play right here, and that's going to do a tiny little chunk to this thing, as he's going to now reveal that he is Sleep Talk. So that was a little judgment error. Clicking taunt right there would have prevented him from going for that Dark Pulse, which is going to do a chunk, and however I'm going to be able to get my some health back with the lefties and the Leech Seed. So I'm really relying on my lefties. Another reason why I liked the idea of Fake Out was that, especially if something was Leech Seeded, I'd get the free lefties plus the free Leech Seed, and then I'd be able to Parting Shot out. So getting free health on my Persian was something I really liked. And now what I'm going to do here is just click Taunt, because I do not want him to be able to heal back up. Since this if I played really badly around this thing, then it could do serious work. And he did try and go for the Rest right there, so that's very handy for me. And I'm going to be able to get up essentially to full, which is very, very nice for me. And I'm essentially, like, there's no point for him to stay in, since he cannot beat this Persian 1v1 while it's Leech Seeded. And I'm going to make a little bit of a mistake here and accidentally not click Parting Shot. Blame 3DS for being a dumb system. So if I click Parting Shot right here, I would have gotten really nice momentum off him, as he is going to switch out himself. So I do wish that I got the Parting Shot. I clicked Parting Shot instead, but he's going to go into Primarina, which is totally fine because my Snorlax is one of my counters to this thing, and I know from this point he cannot 2-hit KO me, and I'm just going to go right for the I'm going to go right ahead and click Curse, because if that Spiritomb is poison and I'm at +1, then I can beat it. I can take it on. He's going to go ahead and fire off a Moonblast and show that he is Choice Specs. That is definitely Choice Specs damage. And what I can do now is, after the poison damage, I should be able to knock him out with Return plus Poison from where I'm at, and I can take another hit, and then if I need to, I can rest up on the Spiritomb, because an unboosted Dark Pulse is not going to actually do damage to me. So I'm going to go ahead and click Return. Clicking Moonblast was probably his best play right here, because weakening my Lax so that he could take it out with Spiritomb was his better option. Just take it out with anything on his team. So the Return does not knock him out. I believe it could have been a roll, but the Poison will be able to take him down. So Primarina is gone, which is very nice because it threatened a lot of my team, since Specs Fairy Water is just Spook McNewts. And what he's going to do is go ahead and switch into his Gyarados right here. Now, I don't want to lose my Snorlax because it still can take on the Spiritomb potentially, and I do have my counter to it, which is the Chestnut, and if I can get a Spike Up, I'm absolutely golden. So he's going to go ahead and just fire off the Waterfall right away as he Megas into Mega Gyara, yeah. And last time I fought a Mega Gyara, it lucked me, so hopefully I can get a little revenge on this stupid Water Snecko. He's going to go for the Waterfall, and that's not doing anything. After running a quick calc, that shows me he is most likely Jolly Max Attack, though he could have been Adamant. I wasn't exactly sure. Either way, my play is to just click Leech Seed right here, and then he reveals Hurricane, and I die. So, as I totally forgot Hurricane and Gara existed, so that was really good prep on his part to be able to take out my Chestnut. However, this will allow me a free switch into my Scolipede, and I was right in saving Scolipede because he does not have a switch into this thing. He just doesn't. So I'm going to be able to click Mega Horn right here, and this is going to do a serious chunk to the Kecleon. Now this was a 50-50. Since it did not kill, it's possible he could have priority, but it's also possible that he could go for rocks. Now if I switched out fearing the priority and not wanting to lose my Scolipede, and he clicked rocks, my Scolipede would be useless. So I'm going to go ahead and just click Earthquake, and he doesn't show to have a priority move, or he just didn't go for it there, predicting me to switch and going for rocks potentially. But I'm just going to kill it with an Earthquake, and that is fantastic for me because I'm at +2 speed, I outspeed his entire team, and I kill pretty much everything on his team, or do a lot. So Spiritomb comes in. I believe on a max roll I can knock it out since I'm adamant max attack if he is fully Fizz Def. And I might as well get the chip off on it because if he opts to just knock me out with a Dark Pulse afterwards, I can just come in and clean up with one of my other mons. I'm not going to knock him out, and then he goes for the rest. So that's a little spooky. It throws a bit of a hink into everything. However, my play here is to just click Mega Horn because I want to get chip on this thing. I need to weaken it because if I dilly-dally around and let this thing potentially get up a Calm Mind while it's sleeping, that would be bad. And he's going to go into Jolteon. It was a possibility that he could hard switch into this, predicting either Persian or Manaphy to come in. So I'm going to Mega Horn and take out his Jolteon, and that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic for me, because that was the biggest threat to my... It was the only threat to my Manaphy, so now Manaphy can win this game, and I'm just going to opt to hard switch into it. Do I go hard into it, or do I go into Persian? I forget. No, I'm going to go hard into it. Better play would have been to just go into Persian, taunt it, and then parting shot on out, but, you know, we don't make the best plays all the time. And he's going to go ahead, fire off the Sleep Talk, and he's going to pull the rest, which is nice. For me, I fully understand the pains of Rest Talk Mons, since I feel like I get rest a fair majority, and what I can do is go for the Tail Glow, as he is going to go ahead and Sleep Talk a Calm Mind. Now, because he Sleep Talk a Calm Mind, I can't one-shot this thing, whereas I believe I O-code it at +3, or I got very close. So what I'm going to do here, though, is just click Dazzling Gleam. I believe I do need +6 to potentially knock out Gyarados if it is a bulkier set. And as you can see, the Dazzling Gleam fails to knock him out, but he does go for the rest. And now what that's going to allow me to do is win the game, because I can click Tail Glow again, and then I can guaranteed take this thing down from where it's at. And also guaranteed take out any sort of Gyarados set. So we're going to go ahead and Tail Glow up, and he's going to be sleeping, and he's going to go ahead and Sleep Talk, and he's going to roll a Calm Mind yet again, meaning we can't take this thing out, which is a little annoying, but it doesn't matter since he can't kill us, and we have the means to 2-hit KO him. So we're going to be able to take this game at this point. My Manaphy is guaranteed to outspeed his Gyarados, and Dazzling Gleam is going to do a lot, about 90%, as he's going to Sleep Talk roll the Dark Pulse this time, which was pretty nice for him, though it's just a little too late for him to be able to do anything. So it does a lot. Crit probably would have killed me. And now what I can do is just click Dazzling Gleam 2 more times, and then the game will end, and I will be able to pick up a nice clean 5-0 victory versus Johnny and his Oregon Duckletts. So all he has left is that Gyarados. We're going to be able to one-shot it guaranteed with Dazzling Gleam, and that is going to move us on to 6-0 plus 23, which is really good. Very, very happy with where I stand right now in the entire league, and also where my Mons are standing. Right now, Manaphy is number 1 in the MVP race, sitting at 11-1, and Scolipede is number 2 with an 11. Sorry, with an 11-2 killed death. And if what am I trying to say? And if Scolipede wasn't useless and didn't miss a Mega Horn versus Frawls, then Manaphy would be 11-0, and Scolipede would have a whole lot more kills. But alas, we take those. Very good game for me. It was a tough match for sure. Spiritomb was pretty annoying against my team, and the Hurricane Gyarados definitely threw me for a loop. If he didn't have that, I think I could have just 6-0'd, because getting Spikes up on the field would have let me just stall his team out with like Persian and Zapdos and Chestnut and all the boys, since my team was very fat. But that's the game. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you later for some more Mons. See ya.